In a quiet countryside village, surrounded by green fields and soft winds, lived a small, loving family. They had 2 daughters, Ira and Mira. Ira, the elder one, had always been the stronger one. She spoke less, thought more, and carried responsibilities like they were part of her nature. Mira, on the other hand, was the light of the house, laughing loudly, running freely, and loving deeply. They shared everything: clothes, secrets, dreams, sometimes even silence. They were not just sisters, they were each other's world. Time, however, has its own plans. After graduation, Ira got a job in the city. It was a proud moment, but also the beginning of distance. The city slowly took Ira into its rhythm: work, deadlines, responsibilities. And somewhere in that busy life, Arav entered. Arav was her colleague. He was different, confident but not arrogant, calm but not distant, kind without trying too hard. He would wait for Ira after work, walk with her to the bus stop, sometimes tease her about how serious she always looked. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and without realizing it, Ira fell in love. Not loudly, not boldly, but deeply. The kind of love that grows quietly and takes over everything. Yet she never confessed, because Arav never crossed that line. He cared for her, respected her, but his eyes never held that feeling. And Ira was afraid that if she spoke, she might lose him completely. One day, Ira decided to bring her friends to the village for a short visit. Arav came along. At home, Mira and her parents were excited and prepared everything with excitement. She didn't know her life was about to change. The moment they arrived, voices filled the house, laughter echoed, and then Mira turned quickly and bumped into Arav. She lost her balance, but his arms caught her. For a moment, everything stopped. Her eyes slowly lifted and met his. His hand was still around her waist. Her fingers gripped his shirt. Neither moved, neither spoke. The world faded. Then suddenly, she stepped back. "I'm sorry," her voice trembled. Arav blinked, as if waking up. "It's okay," he said softly, but his eyes stayed on her a moment longer than necessary. From that moment, Mira couldn't ignore him. Her eyes kept searching for him, watching him laugh with others, watching the way he spoke, the way he smiled, the way he looked when he wasn't looking at her. And Arav noticed. At first, it was just curiosity, then interest, then something deeper. The next day, they all went to the fields. The sun was warm, the wind playful. Mira walked ahead, holding her dupatta, laughing with Ira. Arav watched her. Suddenly, she turned and caught him staring. She quickly looked away, but this time, he didn't. He walked closer. "Do you always run away when someone looks at you?" he asked. She looked down, trying to hide her smile. "I didn't run." "You did," he said. "I didn't," she said. He leaned slightly closer. Her heart started racing. "Why are you teasing me?" she asked softly. "Because you're easy to tease," he said. She looked up at him now, slightly annoyed, but her eyes sparkled. "I'm not." "Oh?" he smiled. She crossed her arms. "I'm not scared of you. Good, he said quietly. Her breath hitched. Something about his voice made her feel things she couldn't explain. That night, she couldn't sleep, so she stepped out quietly. The house was silent. The moonlight spread softly across the courtyard. And then, she bumped into someone again. Before she could fall, Arav caught her again. This time, they both lost balance and fell together. He landed beneath her, his arm still around her waist. Her hair fell over his face. Their hearts beat loudly in the silence. "What are you doing here?" he whispered. "I came for water," she lied softly. Trying to move, but his hand tightened slightly. Her heart skipped. They stayed like that for a few seconds, or maybe minutes. Time didn't matter. Nothing did. His fingers slowly brushed a strand of her hair away from her face. She slowly got up, stepping away. "I should go," she whispered, but her legs felt weak. "Mira," he called softly. She paused, but didn't turn. "Don't avoid me tomorrow," he said. Her fingers tightened. She nodded slightly and walked away. But that night, neither of them slept, because something had already begun, something they couldn't stop. The next morning felt different. Mira woke up early, but her heart was already restless. The memory of last night replayed again and again in her mind, his voice, his touch. She pressed her fingers against her lips unconsciously. "What is happening to me?" she whispered. But deep inside, she already knew. The house was lively again. Guests laughed, plates clinked, voices filled every corner. But for Mira, everything felt distant, because her attention kept drifting to one person, Arav. He stood near the window, talking to Ida and others, smiling casually as if nothing had happened. How can he act so normal? She thought, slightly irritated. As if sensing her gaze, Arav suddenly turned. Their eyes met, and this time, he didn't look away. Instead, a slow, knowing smile appeared on his lips. Mira's heart stumbled. She quickly turned away, pretending to be busy, but her cheeks turned warm. Later, Mira went to the backyard to hang clothes. The sunlight fell softly on her face as she struggled with a stubborn cloth that wouldn't stay clipped. "Need help?" he asked. Without turning, she said, "No." Before she could react, Arav reached over her shoulder and fixed the cloth effortlessly. His arm brushed against hers. A small touch, but it sent a rush through her body. "I said I don't need help," she muttered. "You also said you weren't running away yesterday," he replied calmly. She turned to face him now. "You remember everything?" "Only important things." "And I'm important?" He stepped a little closer. "Do you want to know the answer?" Her breath hitched. "Maybe I don't." "Liar," he whispered. Her heart pounded. That afternoon, everyone gathered under a tree near the fields. Music played softly from someone's phone, and laughter filled the air. Arav was sitting with a few others, including one of Ida's friends, a girl named Ria. Ria was cheerful, bold, and very comfortable around Arav. Too comfortable. She laughed loudly at everything he said, touched his arm while talking, leaned closer than necessary. Mira watched. Her chest tightened again. She tried to ignore it, but her eyes refused to move away. Why is she so close to him? Why is he not stopping her? Suddenly, Ria whispered something into Arav's ear. He smiled. Mira stood up abruptly and walked away. She didn't realize he had followed her. "Running again?" Arav's voice came from behind. She turned, clearly upset. "Why are you following me?" "Because you walked away like you were angry." "I'm not," she said. "Really?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Then look at me and say it." She looked up, meeting his eyes. "I'm not angry." He studied her face, then said quietly, "You're jealous." Her heart stopped. "What?" "I'm not jealous." "Then why did you leave?" "I just didn't want to sit there," she said. "Or you didn't like seeing her close to me?" "That's none of my business," she snapped. Arav stepped closer. "Say it again, but this time without looking away." She couldn't, because the truth was already written in her eyes. That evening, Mira stood near the well, trying to calm herself. Suddenly, a hand gently caught her wrist. She gasped. Before she could speak, Arav pulled her slightly closer. "Stop running from me," he said softly. "I'm not running. I just need space." "From me?" he asked. She stayed silent. He stepped even closer. "So it's true." "What is?" "You feel something." Her heart beat wildly. "No." "Then why are you trembling?" he whispered. She hadn't even realized it. Her hands were shaking, her breath uneven, her heart completely out of control. "Say it," he said gently. "I don't feel anything." He leaned closer. "So if I do this, you won't feel anything?" Her eyes closed for a second. "Arav," she whispered. "Yes?" "Please." "Please what?" She opened her eyes, looking straight into his. "Don't make this harder." His expression softened. "It's already hard." They stood there in silence, the air heavy, the distance between them almost gone. "I don't understand what's happening," Mira said softly. "I do," Arav replied. She looked at him. "What is it then?" He took a deep breath. "It's something we shouldn't feel." Her heart dropped. At the same time, Ara sat in her room, looking at her phone, at Arav's name. Her fingers hovered over the screen, her heart filled with emotions she had hidden for so long. "I can't keep this inside anymore," she whispered. The night felt heavier than usual. The house was quiet, but inside 3 hearts, storms were raging. The next evening, Ara called Mira to her room. Her voice sounded different, soft but trembling. Mira walked in slowly. "Ira, you called me?" Ira nodded, gesturing for her to sit. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then finally, "Mira, I need to tell you something." Mira forced a small smile. "What is it?" Ira looked down at her hands. "I think I'm in love." "Who?" Ira lifted her eyes slowly. "Arav." Mira felt like the ground beneath her disappeared. Her fingers tightened around her dress. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Ira smiled shyly, unaware of the storm she had just created. "I didn't plan it. It just happened," she continued. "He's kind, caring, and when I'm with him, I feel safe." Every word felt like a knife in Mira's heart. "He treats me so well," Ira added softly. Mira's vision blurred, because she knew that same kindness, that same warmth, was now her weakness too. "Ira," Mira whispered. "Yes?" "Does he know?" Ira shook her head. "No, I've never told him." Mira's chest tightened painfully. That night, Mira broke. She locked her door, sat on the floor, and cried silently into her hands. Her body shook with every sob she tried to hide. "This is wrong," she whispered. "He's her love, not mine." But her heart refused to listen because it had already chosen, and now it had to let go. The trip was coming to an end. Ira and her friends were preparing to leave for the city. The house was filled with goodbye smiles, but beneath it, emotions were tangled. Mira stayed quiet the whole morning. She avoided looking at Arav, avoided even being in the same space as him. But his presence, she could feel it everywhere, like something pulling at her heart. When it was time to leave, everyone gathered outside. Bags were loaded, voices were cheerful. But Mira stood slightly behind everyone, not stepping forward, not saying much. Because she knew, if she got too close, she might break. Ira hugged her tightly. "Take care of yourself," she said. Mira nodded. "You too." Her voice was soft, almost lost. Then Arav stepped forward. For a moment, they stood face to face, so close, yet so far. "So this is it?" he asked quietly. Mira looked down. "Take care," she whispered. Arav laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. "Take care?" he repeated. She didn't respond, because if she looked at him, everything would fall apart. And then they left. That night, with trembling fingers, Mira picked up her phone. Arav's name stared back at her, her eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered, and typed, "We can't be together. Please don't contact me again." She stared at the message for a long time. Then she sent it and turned off her phone, as if shutting him out of her life completely. When Arav saw the message, he froze. At first, he thought it was a joke, then confusion, then anger, then fear. "What the hell is this?" he muttered. He called her. No answer. He sent messages. "What do you mean? Mira, stop this. Talk to me. Don't do this." But there was only silence. And that silence drove him mad. Unable to bear it, Arav went to Ira. He needed answers. He needed something. But instead, Ira confessed her love. Arav's heart sank, not because he didn't respect her, but because he knew he couldn't return it. "Ira," he said softly. "I'm sorry," she quickly added. "I know this is sudden, but I couldn't keep it anymore." He shook his head gently. "You don't have to be sorry." Then her voice trembled. He looked into her eyes and spoke honestly. "I care about you, a lot, but not like that." Her smile faded slowly. "There's someone else," he continued. Ira felt like everything around her collapsed, but she held herself together. "If you love someone," she said, forcing a smile, "I won't come between you." Arav looked at her with guilt, then Sacha suddenly asked, "Does anyone know about your feelings?" She hesitated. "Only Mira." Arav froze. Everything clicked. Her distance, her silence, her sudden goodbye. "She's avoiding me because of you," he whispered. Arav stepped back, running his hand through his hair in frustration. This is why she's doing this." Ira frowned. "What do you mean?" But he didn't answer, because his anger wasn't at Ira, it was at Mira. That night, Arav sat alone, staring at his phone, at her last message. His jaw tightened. "Fine," he muttered. "If you want to end it, say it to my face." Days passed like this. Ira decided to go back to the village for the upcoming festival. "I need a break," she told Arav. He looked at her, then asked suddenly, "Can I come with you?" Her eyes lit up for a moment. "Of course." But she didn't know. This trip would change everything. Ira and Arav reached the village by evening. Ira looked around with a small smile, breathing in the familiar air. "It feels peaceful, right?" she said. Arav nodded, but his eyes were searching for someone. "Where's Mira?" he asked casually. Ira replied, "She went on a trip with her friends. She'll be back tonight." That was enough to make him uneasy. He had waited long enough. Tonight, he would get his answers. Mira had returned. Her body was exhausted from the trip, but her heart felt heavier stepping back into that house. She didn't know why. As she walked upstairs slowly, a strong hand suddenly grabbed her wrist. Before she could react, she was pulled inside a room. The door shut, locked. Her heart jumped in fear. "Arav?" She turned quickly, her eyes wide. "What are you doing here? When did you come?" But he didn't answer. He pulled her closer. His hand held her face firmly. "Why are you avoiding me?" he demanded. His voice wasn't loud, but it shook her. She looked away. "I asked you something, Mira." "I need an answer." Her lips trembled. I told you already." "That message?" he snapped. "That's not an answer." Her eyes filled with tears. "Please, don't do this." "Don't do what?" he asked, stepping closer. "Care about you? Fight for you?" "I can't," she whispered. "Why?" "Because we are not meant to be," she cried. The words echoed in the room, but Arav didn't step back. Instead, he leaned closer. "Or you're sacrificing for your sister?" Mira froze. Her breath stopped. Slowly, she looked at him. "What are you talking about?" "I know everything," he said. Her heart dropped. "She told me," he continued. "She told me she loves me." "And you think I didn't understand?" he added. "That you pushed me away because of her?" She stayed silent, because she couldn't deny it. "It doesn't work like that, Mira," he said. "I never saw her like that. She's my friend. That's it." "But she loves you," she said. "And I don't love her," he said firmly. Those words hit her deeply. "I already told her," he added. Mira looked up, shocked. "You did?" "Yes." Her heart felt both relieved and broken at the same time. "This isn't something you can decide alone," he continued. "You don't get to walk away from me like I don't matter." "I was trying to protect her," she said. "And what about me?" he asked. "Who protects me from losing you?" "I can't live without you, Mira," he said, his voice breaking for the first time. Her tears fell freely now. "I tried," she whispered. "I tried so hard to stay away from you." "Then why couldn't you?" he asked softly. She looked into his eyes. "Because the truth was too strong to hide anymore." "Because I love you." The words slipped out. Arav closed his eyes for a second, as if finally breathing after being suffocated. Then he pulled her into a tight embrace. "So don't leave me," he whispered into her hair. Her hands slowly held onto his shirt, as if she was afraid he would disappear. The room was silent. Only their breathing filled the space. Slowly, Arav pulled back, his hands still holding her face. He looked into her tear-filled eyes. "Look at me," he said softly. She did. He leaned closer, giving her time, giving her a choice. She didn't move away, because she had already chosen. His lips brushed hers gently at first, then deeper, warmer, real. Mira's fingers tightened around him, her heart racing uncontrollably. The world outside disappeared. Just them. When they finally pulled away, their foreheads rested against each other, breathing heavily, eyes still closed. "This changes everything," Mira whispered. "I know," Arav replied. Outside the room, Ira had seen enough. Not everything, but enough. Her heart sank, her breath became uneven, and slowly, she stepped back, before anyone could notice. That night, 3 people didn't sleep. Mira cried in silence. Arav stared at the ceiling, thinking of what comes next. And Ira sat alone in the dark, her eyes empty, her heart breaking in a way she never imagined. The morning didn't feel like a festival anymore. The same house, the same people, the same walls, but everything had changed. Mira stepped out of her room slowly. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Her heart was still trembling from last night, and the moment she looked up, she saw Ira, standing in the hall, watching her, not with anger, not with tears, but with a silence that hurt more than anything. Arav couldn't take it anymore. He found Ira alone near the backyard. "Ira," he called softly. She turned slowly. Her face was calm, too calm. "We need to talk," he said. She gave a faint, tired smile. "There's nothing left to talk about, Arav." "There is," he replied firmly. She looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "I saw you." "I didn't hear everything," she continued, "but I saw enough." Arav closed his eyes briefly. "I'm sorry." Ira shook her head. "Don't say that. It's the truth." "No," she said softly. "The truth is, I already lost you before I even had you." Her voice didn't break, but her eyes did. That evening, Ira walked into Mira's room, closed the door. Mira stood up immediately, her heart racing. "Ira!" But before she could say anything, Ira asked one question. "Since when?" Mira froze. Her lips trembled. "I asked you something," Ira said, her voice still calm, but deeper now. "Since when did you start loving him?" Tears filled Mira's eyes. "Before you told me." Ira closed her eyes slowly, as if that one answer confirmed everything. Mira stepped closer, holding her hands. "I didn't want to take him away from you." Ira let out a broken laugh. "You didn't take him from me, Mira." She gently pulled her hands away. "He was never mine." Those words carried so much pain. Arav stepped into the room slowly. "I think I should say something too," he said. Ira looked at him. He took a deep breath. "I never loved you the way you deserved, Ira, but I respect you more than anything. I didn't choose Mira over you," he continued. "I just fell in love with her." Ira listened quietly, every word sinking deep. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Ira took a deep breath and said something neither of them expected. "Are you both happy together?" Mira's lips trembled. Arav looked at Mira, then back at Ira. "Yes," he said honestly. Ira nodded slowly, her eyes filled with tears, but this time she didn't hide them. Ira stepped closer, holding Mira's face. "You are my sister," she whispered. "I can't lose you for someone who was never mine to begin with." Tears streamed down both their faces. "And if he makes you happy?" Ira added softly. Then I'll learn to live with this pain. Ira stood there silently, watching two hearts break and still choose each other. Days passed. The festival ended, but something new began. Ira returned to the city, stronger, healing slowly. Mira and Arav stayed in touch, their love no longer hidden, but now carrying responsibility. Months later, when Ira visited the village again, she saw them, Mira and Arav, standing together, smiling, happy. For a second, her heart ached, but then she smiled too, because love is not always about holding on. Sometimes it's about letting go.